All right. Pardon the eye patch, but I'm having to exercise my right eye. So here I am with Lucille Ball on one shoulder and Joan Blondell on the other shoulder. Advising me like angels from afar. And we're gonna we're getting close to kind of a launch date. I haven't really gone into detail, but I'm getting excited personally. But I was looking back at some of the other ones, and I mentioned Scott Joplin. I mentioned that Neo-Swedenborgians are familiar with Scott Joplin. And why? Well, Neo-Swedenborgianism is an esoteric science, you might say. And there is another esoteric science which I've referenced before called Angelish. And Angelish is the language of angels as observed and by a man named John Sekeli, who is a Chicago a man about town in Chicago. And Angelish, I'll link to that, and I'll also link to this scene from the Scott Joplin movie. So I'm talking about two things at once right now. One is Angelish, and the other is Scott Joplin. And I'm going to connect them because what Angelish does is observes interesting language puns and reads deeper meaning into things like that. And it's a very interesting thing. And once you read about it, you can do it yourself. Angelish. John Sekeli, I wouldn't say invented Angelish. But he is very good at it, and he's developed it as an idea. And one of the things he says is, for example, masculine. He would break into mask you lie in. Okay, and that's kind of clever. And once you get hooked on that, you can just do it for everything, because language, when you really look closely at it, breaks apart like that. It's a fascinating thing. And how does that relate to Scott Joplin? Well, there's another step before we get to Scott Joplin, which is that the reason I bring up Angelish is because of the similarities in the word violence and violins. And a lot of people have made this observation of using this word play of violence and violins. But I'm taking it one step further, and I am suggesting, quite literally, that we need to take our violence and bring it on to violins, which is to say we need to do battle not with bullets, but with violin strings. I mean, not with the strings themselves, with music. So I'm talking about a musical battle on violins, which in the jazz world would be called a cutting contest. And cutting contests, I wouldn't say they started with Scott Joplin, but the cutting contest tradition that I'm a part of myself traces itself back to Scott Joplin. Okay, so there's a fiddle tradition, fiddle contest tradition, Texas fiddling, and it's heavily influenced by that early ragtime piano. You can hear it in the bass notes on the guitar and in the chord, all the chord phrasings and chord inversions. It's very much influenced by Scott Joplin. So the reason Neo-Swedenborgians need to be familiar with Scott Joplin is twofold. One of which is because of his place as a in the cutting contest history, in the history of cutting contests. So if you're going to learn about cutting contests, he's a huge early celebrity of cutting contests. And also his music directly influences the music that I'm talking about today, which is contest style, Texas style fiddling. But I'm taking it one step further, and I'm saying that the actual solution to our violence problem is violins, and that we have to take the battle on to the music, onto the musical